It certainly was, and Trent Rivers played a key part of it in the midfield. He can join you on ABC AFL Sunday. Trent, congratulations in wet and tough conditions last night. What did you feel like was the key to getting the victory, especially without Max Gawn?
Oh, firstly, thanks for having me, guys. And it was different. It was a different look for us without Maxi. So I think we just went in with a game plan to, just hunt and tackle, and we executed it, and obviously came out on top.
You did that really well, Trent, and I know we got to speak last night as well, so congratulations again on the win. I want to talk about that midfield part of the ground. First quarter, Sam Draper was quite dominant with the hit-outs, and that was expected to be. Harry Petty and Jacob Van Rooyen trying their hardest to nullify him. When you're in that situation as a midfielder, are you purely watching Sam Draper's hand? Are you watching the movement of the opposition mids? Are you just trying to get each player gets to a certain zone and you're trying to cover things? Can you tell the listeners what the mindset is there from a mid, knowing your ruckman's probably not going to get the hit out?
Yeah, I think you sort of just got to try and read what they're doing, but then also defend your man first, and then if it bobbles your way, go win the ball.
Have you always wanted to be a midfielder? I wanted to ask that to you last night. The transition, and you've been such a good inclusion into that midfield. Was that always the aim, or was it just simply a tap on the shoulder in the last few weeks? We're going to try something different.
No, I've definitely been pushing Goody a little bit. He threw us in there for a few 5-minute spurts across the last couple of years, but obviously my opportunities come along, and like to think that I've grabbed it with both hands.
Have you had to do anything with your athletic profile to ensure that opportunity, aerobically or anything like that, or are you pretty good in that area anyway?
No, it's probably the area that I struggle most with, but it's definitely been putting in some building blocks over the last few years. Making sure that I've done my pre-seasons right, and obviously I've still got a lot of work to go in that area. But I like to think that I've made some pretty good progress over the years.
So obviously with the injury of Christian Petrarca, Trent, I'm not sure whether your name was the first one mentioned to Simon Goodwin, but you've had to get that opportunity, and you started games like a house on fire. I think you had 12 disposals again in the first quarter last week. What's been behind that impressive start, and how has your role changed as you try and play a key part in the middle of the ground?
Oh, to be honest, I don't really think too much when I'm playing my best footy. I think I just sort of go out there and see ball, get ball, but no, I'm working really tightly with the high backs in Salem and Bowie, and then working with the midfielders as well. So I've still got that connection down back and try and get back and help them out where I can too.
And what were you thinking in the final term? It was such a funny game that the Bombers kicked the first goal of the final term, got within 11. All of a sudden, you guys put on 5 goals, lead by 41. It feels like it's game over. And then they kick sort of 4 goals in 7 minutes, and you're sort of back at high alert. Is that just how even the season is this season? If you take your foot off the pedal, teams can score quickly?
Yeah, and we got our touch-up against Brisbane. So we knew what could happen if we didn't keep playing to win. But no, I think it was very impressive of us to, bounce back and, show the resilience to fight back, kick some points in the last quarter and hold on to the win.
We spoke after the game last night in the TV broadcast with Ed Langdon. He ran 17.8 kilometres, I think the number was, 100% game time. It must be nice, I suppose, as a midfield rotation, knowing that there's one bloke out there you don't even need to worry about sending to the bench. He's just going to keep flying up and down that wing and running his heart out.
Oh, it's ridiculous, isn't it? And the funniest thing about that is we were doing our little meetings after the game, and I see him with a helmet, and then ends up telling us that he's riding back home. So, the bloke doesn't get tired, and I definitely love having him on our team.
Needed a little bit more work. That's amazing on the pushy.
In the rain.
Riding back to wherever he lives.
I noticed one thing, and I love this, Trent. So Clayton Oliver had a quiet start to the game, just possession-wise. I mean, he was working really hard, but one touch. Start of the second quarter, I reckon he started the second quarter with 3 or 4 really strong contested ball efforts, got one forward, it ends in a goal. I reckon 15 of your teammates all ran to Oliver and got around him and really pumped him up. I'm assuming maybe a bit of a challenge put to him at quarter time that, come on, let's get going, let's get into this game. The importance as a team of supporting even the best players through that journey. Can you tell us about maybe that quarter time and start of the second quarter?
Yeah, I don't think much was said to him at quarter time, but we all know how good Clayton is as a footballer. Like, we know what he can do, and yeah, he definitely did have a couple moments in the start of that second quarter. But no, just anything that he does, anything that anyone does defensively, we love and support it. And there's a real high emphasis on celebrating the little things. And, he played his role, and that action led to a goal. And obviously you can celebrate the goal kicker, but you need to celebrate the guys that are, doing the dirty work to get that goal as well.
Melbourne midfielder Trent Rivers is with you on AFL Sunday on ABC Sport. The other one I wasn't expecting, Trent, is Jacob Van Rooyen to spend as much time in the ruck as what he did. And yet when he was wrestling with Sam Draper, it just showed you what a big sort of, he's only in his third year, but what a big player he is physically and also for your team. So off the back of kicking 4 goals and a half against the West Coast Eagles last week. And Simon Gooden kind of touched on this in his press conference leading into the match, that the change of personnel might allow for some different sort of methodology and some changes in the way in which you play. So how do you see what he could potentially be, Jacob Van Rooyen, when he's fully in the middle of his AFL career?
Oh, to be honest, he could be anything. Like, you look at his game last week, he has 8 shots on goal, clunking everything. Like, he's a freak, and obviously, like you said, he's still very young, but no, I love playing with him. He's a, big key forward, and I reckon that's where he's going to spend most of his time. But his job was to come into the ruck and have an impact, and he definitely did that as well on last night.
As we move to the next game, Trent, it's against Freo. It's in Perth. We do know what happened last time you played each other. Sorry to bring that up, but is there anything there you go, hang on a second, we owe them one? Does that still exist, that little feeling of, that can never happen again? Yeah,
definitely. I think for me, that was the biggest loss that I've been a part of since being at Melbourne. It was pretty embarrassing, to be honest, because they just absolutely pantsed us across the ground. So yeah, there's going to be a little chip on everyone's shoulder, I reckon, that played, and we're definitely going to try and get one back on them.
So as we let you go, Trent, I guess the holistic question around sort of where Melbourne sit, what do you feel like is the key to Melbourne playing their best footy? Keeping in mind it's pretty inconsistent at the moment, but that contest, clearance, defensive game in which we saw last night, and we're doing the numbers, I think we've got 9 players who have played 50 games or less in this current side. So it's very much a team that is changing and evolving throughout this season.
Yeah, I think exactly what you said. The contest and defence is something that we pride ourselves on. And if we keep rocking up with that, it's going to make it hard for other teams to score and win games. So we've got to bring that for 4 quarters. Like, yeah, we brought it for probably 3.5 quarters last night. Let that, that little slip in the last quarter. But, no, we're definitely improving on the up. And hopefully it's a good fight against Freo on the weekend.
And I suppose one of the issues has been the forward 50 connection. Daniel Turner's a pretty reliable kick, and he's pretty happy to celebrate as well. I think it was the third straight off the boot. He knew it had gone straight through the middle.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable set shot. Like, obviously, going from key back to key forward, and you see him at training, he just doesn't miss. He just puts it up and, sails straight through the middle. So, definitely love having Disco in the team, and he's a great bloke as well.
And just another one of those forwards, young Colton Tolstrup. You're not going to get a pair of sunnies like him, are you, Trent?
Oh, no, I reckon he's got about 6 of them. So
he was wearing them last night in the rooms.
Oh, mate, he wears them everywhere. He rocks up to training wearing them. He leaves training wearing them. He's obsessed with things.
We're asking Bailey Fritsch in the radio coverage post-game last night about the curls in his hair as to whether he puts any product in that. He's certainly hard at the footy. You don't miss him on the footy field.
Nah, definitely. He's a bull, isn't he? So... And yeah, those curls, I don't know what's going on there. We've seen some videos of him when he was younger and he had almost skin fade. So don't know where they've grown from, but no, he's doing all right.
And Kysaiah Pickett celebrated his 100th game last night for a player that can just about do it all in the air and at ground level. The footy club had a special documentary made around his sort of journey into the AFL. And what have you seen as someone who trains with him day in, day out? I gather he's always had the talent and the X factor, but now the hard work to bring that consistency.
Yeah, I mean, Cozzie's a freak, isn't he? He can do anything on a footy field. But yeah, the big one is obviously improving his fitness and getting into the midfield and doing centre bounce and having a massive impact. in there, and then going forward and impacting there as well. Like his pressure and his defensive stuff as well is something that probably doesn't get highlighted as much because he does all the fancy stuff and kicks big goals and everything. But I think his defensive pressure and his tackling is something that's really highlighted within the four walls.
So crucial stage of a match. There's yourself, Max Gawn in the centre square. Who else are you picking as the other two to be alongside you?
Oh.
Is Cozzy there?
No, Cozzy's in there. To win the game, you've got to put Cozzy in there, don't you? And then probably, either Clayton or Jack, one of the two.
I'll put you on the spot. You've handled it beautifully,
that's
Trent,
a tough question.
as you have with your move from half-back into the midfield. Congratulations on the big win last night. Good luck against the Dockers, and thanks for joining us on AFL Sunday.
No worries. Thanks for having me, guys.
Want to see more from the D's? Then don't forget to subscribe up here.